Alright, so this position looks like a Najdorf, gone very wrong for black. White sacrificed a piece. I think that I would much prefer to be white here because there are a lot of great attacking opportunities. When you play in tournaments, do you usually score with consistent results or perform on the extremes? I used to be on the extremes, but nowadays I tend to be much more stable, which probably is going to give me a result that's a bit different than it would have been a few years ago. So I tend to be pretty consistent. Okay, so this looks like the Sveshnikov Sicilian. Um, if I had to look at this position, since I don't like playing the Sveshnikov that much with black anymore, I think that I much prefer the white side of this. I'm perhaps a bit too positional these days, but that's how it goes. So I would say that black has given up a lot, given up this critical score on d5, and I would prefer to be white. All right, so let's see. Well, obviously, which statement is closer to the truth can mean many things, but at my level, it's very important that I try and play my best in every single game. So it's definitely going to be A. I don't really notice my opponent. Sorry. Black has just played G5. Your first instinct is to. Well, in this position, I think it depends whether I'm playing a classical game against a top player or whether I'm playing a blitz or bullet game. If I was playing blitz or bullet, I think there's probably about a 95% chance that I would sack on g5. In a classical game, I would go bishop g3, so I'm going to have to base this on what I would do in a serious classical game of chess, which would be to retreat the bishop to g3, which I know means that I'm not going to be a barbarian. Okay, do you play gambits? I used to play a lot of gambits. Nowadays, I tend to play perhaps a bit too classically. So the answer is going to be no. I don't play gambits these days because they don't work against the top players. All right. How would you think about whether or not to take on g5? All right. Here, I think I would evaluate it based on two things. I think that it depends largely whether after you sacrifice on g5, you can play the pawn from e3 to e4 and swing the rook over or not. If I don't see a good way to stop that, then I would definitely sacrifice. So I think it's going to be A. I would evaluate the placement of the pieces, or more specifically, the rook on c3. Under serious time pressure, you're more likely to miss a tactic or move pieces aimlessly. I think it's easily A. I mean, at my level, you always have to have some idea of what you're doing. You can't just make random moves, so it's going to be A, miss a tactic. Which of these ideas do you prefer for white? Trade the bishop and put a knight on d4, or push d4. Oof. In this position, I think it requires a little bit of time to think, but my first instinct would be to push the pawn to d4, force the bishop away, and to then go straight on ahead with f5 and attack. So the answer is going to be B. You start the game out with 1d4. Would you rather your opponent play 1d5 or 1f5? 100% I would prefer that my opponent plays f5, both because it's not the best move and also because I like more exciting positions than things that are going to be symmetrical and dry. So B. You have been ahead of pawn for most of the game, but after tough resistance from your opponent, you only have 5 minutes left in the position. Should plan or offer a draw? Well, you have an extra pawn. There's no risk of losing, so offering a draw would just be really quite stupid, frankly. I mean, at the very least, you can get down to 5 seconds and offer a draw, but not playing on this position is, the wrong decision by a mile. So you have to keep pushing and trying to win. Which statement comes closest to your feelings? Let's see. So it's always a joy to be paired with someone you've crushed, or the odds of winning are slightly higher against opponents one has beaten. I think that the answer is obviously for me going to be A. I always enjoy playing against people who I've dominated in the past, and there are a few people at the top who I have quite good results against, and anytime I get to play them with white, I'm always very happy, so the answer is A. With plenty of time on the clock, what would you do in this position? Trade on e6 and then put the rook to 7th, or invest some serious time? Well, I would probably use 1 second and take the bishop on e6, simply because in this position it's too simplified, so no other moves really make much sense. And whether it was in classical or in blitz or bullet, I would just take right away, so the answer is A. What do you think of the famous saying, chess is 99% tactics? I don't agree at all. I think it's much lower. I think up to about 2400 level, which is international master, it's probably about 90-95%. But beyond that, uh, it goes down to maybe 50%, I would say. So the answer is B. I disagree. How do you feel about this wild gambit line for black? Um, well, it's pretty obvious that this is ridiculously unsound. You're completely losing. You'd have to be out of your mind to play this way. So, yeah, the answer is A. No way. I mean, it's stupid to play like this. After losing a game, have you ever broken something or yelled out loud? I'd like to say the answer is A. Of course, that is absolutely not true. I think I've done both. It doesn't say whether this refers to classical chess or online, but if we're talking about online, I have definitely used some inappropriate language, and I have also slammed my mouse and thrown it against the wall a few times. So the answer is B. Yes, I have unfortunately done both. White playing castle. Okay, in this position, it looks pretty normal. Again, I think this depends whether it's going to be a classical game of chess or a blitz game. In blitz or bullet, I think it's about 85-90% that I would castle long. In a classical game of chess, most likely I would castle short here, because in a classical game, I probably would notice that black is going to have some knight h5 ideas, and the attack isn't going to be quite as strong. But so it depends what I'm playing, but I'm going to base this on classical chess, so the answer would be A, kingside. Which is closer to the truth? I get excited or nervous, or I don't worry about prizes, money, titles, or honors. At this point in my career, the answer is definitely going to be B, because I've played in so many tournaments, I've had so much experience that it's not particularly relevant to me whether I make a lot of money, win a tournament, or getting a title. It's more important to play good chess. So the answer is B, but I would say for probably the first 3 to 4 years of my chess career, the answer would have been A, but for now it's B. How would you come up with a plan in this position as white? I think I've actually seen this position before. I'm pretty sure this is theory. In this position, I probably would not think very much. I would just take right away on d5, because e5 looks positionally wrong, and e takes f5 also should be beneficial to black. So I would just take on d5 right away, which means I would definitely go for B. I would calculate some lines and just make a move. Which is harder for you to do? Identify advantages and build a plan, or trade a good position for a strong attack? I think at this point it's definitely going to be B, because when you get a good position, it's hard to go for something which could potentially be speculative. I mean, it depends how strong the attack is, but if it isn't clear and completely straightforward, it is quite hard to trade those two advantages. And the answer is I am not a barbarian. Apparently I'm a technician, which is kind of strange. Clearly, Danny, when he made this this chess personality quiz, he clearly didn't understand what kind of a chess player I am. So I'm gonna blame Danny for thinking I'm some crazy barbarian. But apparently, I play chess like Kramnik, kind of, maybe. I'm not sure. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing me take this chess personality quiz on chess.com, and until next time.